What happens when one of America's greatest writers decides he no longer understands the country he helped define? That question launched John Steinbeck on a 10,000-mile road trip across the United States, not as a celebrity, but as a quiet observer with a dog named Charley, a truck named Rocinante, and a deep need to rediscover what it means to be American. Travels with Charley, In Search of America, by John Steinbeck. Published, 1962. Prelude, Why I Must Go. In 1960, Steinbeck, now an aging literary icon, is aware that his time and health are limited. Though he's spent a lifetime writing about America, from the Grapes of Wrath to Cannery Row, he fears he's no longer truly in touch with the country he so famously depicted. To test his observations and reawaken his connection, he resolves to travel across the U.S., alone except for his dog Charley, a French poodle with a calm, dignified manner and human-like intelligence. He customizes a camper truck, names it Rocinante, a nod to Don Quixote, loads it with books, clothes, a gun, food, and maps, and leaves his comfortable home in Sag Harbor, New York. He seeks not just to see places, but to listen, watch, and feel America again. Part 1. The Northeast, Silence, Stoicism, and Change. States visited: New York, Connecticut, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. As he sets off, Steinbeck feels both freedom and discomfort. He passes through small towns in New England, where he encounters locals whose conversations are minimal but telling. In Maine, he interacts with Canadian lumberjacks, quiet, self-contained men who reveal the strength and modesty of the region. He notes the beauty of nature, the crispness of the air, and the clarity of thought solitude brings. But there's also a faint undercurrent of loss, as if small-town New England is fading into modernity, its dialects, traditions, and independence slowly giving way to conformity. Part 2. Midwest and Great Plains. Friendly faces, flat land, and disconnection. States visited: Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota. In the Midwest, Steinbeck becomes more reflective about regional identity. He observes how many towns, even hundreds of miles apart, are starting to look and feel the same: identical motels, neon signs, supermarkets. He sees this as the rise of mass consumerism and suburbanization, replacing the regionalism that once made American towns distinct. He meets friendly people, truckers, waitresses, motel clerks, who share slices of life with him. But in North Dakota, he faces the first signs of alienation. Some people are friendly, others suspicious of a lone man traveling with a dog. Paranoia around the Cold War looms in people's comments. Despite this, Steinbeck finds beauty in the endless fields, the open roads, and the slow pace of rural life. He also reconnects with an old friend in Minnesota, whose private struggles contrast with his public success, a reminder of the emotional cost of the American dream. Part 3. Montana and the West, Awe, Memory, and a Sense of Loss. States visited: Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Washington. Steinbeck is mesmerized by Montana. He describes it as the most beautiful place he's ever seen: wide skies, crisp air, and rugged terrain. He feels spiritually refreshed, saying that Montana is what a child imagines America should be. As he moves through Wyoming and Idaho, he sees signs of modern development: highways cutting through wild lands, forests being cleared. There's tension between the natural and the artificial, tradition and progress. He speaks to farmers and outdoor workers, reflecting on their dwindling way of life. In Washington, he visits Seattle and its suburbs. He's struck by how quickly technology and convenience are changing the American family. Houses filled with appliances, people buried in their routines. He worries about the loss of introspection, that Americans are no longer thinking, only consuming. Part 4. California, return to roots, but it's not home anymore. State visited, California. Steinbeck travels down the Pacific coast to California, where he was born. His return to Salinas Valley, the backdrop for many of his novels, is bittersweet. The town has changed. People don't recognize him, and he doesn't recognize the place. Though he is technically home, it no longer feels like it. The orchards, fields, and characters he immortalized are disappearing under development and progress. His personal nostalgia clashes with reality. He realizes that you can't go back. Home is a place of the past. You can't go home again because home ceases to exist except in the mothballs of memory. He feels a sense of melancholy and detachment, as if the America he once wrote about is gone, or at least shifting into something new and unrecognizable. Part 5. The Deep South, confronting racial hatred. States visited: Arizona, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. Heading south, Steinbeck enters the most emotionally intense part of his journey. He visits the Deep South during the height of the civil rights movement. In New Orleans, he witnesses firsthand the violent protests against school desegregation. White mothers scream slurs at little black children entering integrated schools. One scene particularly haunts him: a little black girl being escorted to school by federal marshals while being screamed at by a white woman holding a baby, a moment Steinbeck calls one of the most horrifying of the trip. He tries to talk to locals about racism but finds people either deflective, dismissive, or outright bigoted. Steinbeck is deeply shaken, realizing that some parts of the country are still trapped in hatred and denial, and that the struggle for justice is not abstract, it's immediate and dangerous. Part 6. Return journey, reflection and resignation. States visited: Texas, Arkansas, Virginia, back to New York. In Texas, he finds a different spirit. Texans are loud, proud, and eager to explain why their state is better. Steinbeck is amused by their pride but also appreciates their regional uniqueness, which feels more intact than in other parts of America. However, by this point, he is physically and mentally exhausted. His health falters. Charley, too, shows signs of strain. The joy of the road fades into routine. He cuts the journey short and returns home to New York, realizing that while he set out to rediscover America, what he actually found was a nation in motion, fragmented, complex, sometimes kind, often cruel, but always changing. Charley, the quiet companion. Charley is not just comic relief or a silent partner. He offers comfort, reflection, and grounding. Their bond is deep, a wordless companionship that Steinbeck treasures. Charley listens when humans don't. He gives Steinbeck someone to talk to share silences with, and to help shoulder the emotional weight of the road. Final thoughts. A nation of contradictions. Steinbeck ends the journey with no final verdict. He doesn't solve America or capture it in a single phrase. Instead, he leaves readers with the sense that America is a place of contrasts: kindness and cruelty, beauty and ugliness, tradition and transformation. What he rediscovers is not a fixed truth, but the enduring spirit of movement, of questioning, and of watching. Travels with Charley is both a physical journey and a meditation on identity, home, memory, and aging. A journey is a person in itself. No two are alike. We find after years of struggle that we do not take a trip takes us.